everyone, it's Michelle and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. I've missed you guys. It's been a couple of days. I've been really busy at work, but finally able to sit down and record some royal tea. Now, before I do, I just released the third episode in my Corinna and the King series. Many people are going over and they're binge watching all 3 episodes. You guys, this is so juicy and you guys are really loving it. So I'm so happy that you are. It's based on a true story and the downfall of the Spanish king who abdicated in 2014. The fact that you guys aren't talking about it is insane. So if you have not had the opportunity, please go over and check out my other YouTube channel, Royal Daily Tea History and Fashion. Now, I do have a really big favor to ask all of my RDT family members. If you have not subscribed to my other YouTube channel, if you would consider doing so, it would just make my heart all fluffy and happy. My birthday is on April 10th, and I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers on my other YouTube channel. Currently we have 1750. So if you can help me get to my next milestone on my other YouTube channel by my birthday, that would just be extremely meaningful and special to me. So please consider going over and checking it out. But you guys, we have a lot of juicy royalty to cover, so you know what to do. Sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, and let's get into the Royal Daily Tea. Now, the first official portrait of King Charles since he ascended the throne last September has been released. The beautiful oil painting was done by artist Alistair Barford and was created in just 2 weeks without the monarch ever formally sitting down for the portrait. Instead, the artist studied the king's behavior at a palace reception he attended last month. At this event, the artist observed the king, and he also used a collection of photographs and sketches to complete the portrait. Now, the artist said, quote, "I wanted to capture his warmth and sensitivity, the empathy which came across in his interactions with the people he met. It was important that I captured a sympathetic expression." The artist even managed to feature a very subtle nod to Charles's decades of campaigning on climate change. Within the portrait, Mr. Barford included the bracelet that was presented to the king by the Amazon indigenous leader Domingo Pease. The darkly colored bracelet with a gold thread is seen on the left wrist of the monarch just beneath his watch. Now, this new portrait of the king will feature on the front cover of the upcoming illustrated coronation edition, which will be out on Thursday, March 30th. Now, I think this is a beautiful portrait. It definitely captures, in my opinion, the sympathetic look of the king. I think it's a beautiful job, and I don't know how I can get a copy of this coronation program, but I definitely think it's beautiful. So Hollywood Harry made a huge, shocking, and surprise appearance in the UK yesterday as he showed up for the very first day of a 4-day preliminary hearing for his lawsuit against the Associated Newspapers on a privacy breach lawsuit. Now, Harry is one of several celebrities like Elton John, Sadie Frost, and Elizabeth Hurley who are suing the publishers of the Daily Mail for illegal practices for obtaining personal information. Now, apparently, Harry was lapping up every bit of that publicity, y'all. He was loving the limelight. He was loving the attention. Apparently, he got over his personal triggers of the clickety-clicks of the camera. You know how he used to be triggered by the camera for his mom. I'm just like my mom. But apparently, he didn't get triggered yesterday, guys, because he literally walked through the front entrance right into a barrage of photographers and cameras. He didn't enter through the side of the building like the other celebrities. Instead, he looked like a Hollywood movie star arriving at a Hollywood premiere, like he's going to go watch James Bond or Top Gun, not going to a lawsuit court hearing. He was beyond elated. It was like the cat who swallowed the canary. He was pleased as punch, and you could tell he was really pleased with himself. He wore the smirk on his face. He was so into the cameras. I don't think I've seen him this animated, you guys, in like 5 years. I have not seen him that happy to be out in public, to be in front of the cameras, wave into the crowd. He was mucking it up. You can tell Megsy was definitely coaching Harry. Get the money shot, babes. Make sure you look at the camera and smile. We got to get the money shot. He was so enthralled with the attention. He literally walked into a photographer. You can't make it up, guys. You literally can't make it up. Now, this is a very interesting thing, as people are saying he didn't really need to be there because it's a preliminary hearing where they're going to gather enough evidence to see if it's even going to move forward to trial. The thing I find interesting is where Harry's priorities lie. They certainly do not lie with his family or with loyalty. They lie with his pocketbook. Because when Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II had asked and requested Harry to come visit her, he declined, but yet for a lawsuit, boy, he's there with bells on. Now, we all know he probably flew private. I have no clue where he's staying. I don't think he's staying at Frogmore Cottage. I believe Princess Eugenie is living there. I'm not sure. That whole thing is confusing. But the fact that he showed up looking like the cat who swallowed the canary, it was bizarre. It was very bizarre. Again, he is His Royal Highness of Hypocrisy, the man who hates the media, but at the same time has them on the speed dial when him and his wife want to be papped. It's a very weird relationship that Harry has with the press, but a lot of interesting things have come out in regards to this appearance. So it is reported that Prince Harry let it known to his father and his brother that he would be in the UK at this time. However, they had anticipated that King Charles and Queen Camilla would be in France at this time, and Prince William, with his 3 kids on spring break, they normally take a family vacation during this time. So the likelihood of Prince Harry meeting with his father or brother are very, very slim. Although the trip to Paris has been canceled, we are not sure if they are going to meet up with one another. Now, this is the first time that Harry has been back in the UK since the funeral of Her Majesty the Queen in September. Now, back in October of 2020, this lawsuit had announced that the 7 individuals were suing the Associated Newspapers because they became aware of compelling and highly distressing evidence that they had been the victims of abhorrent criminal activity and gross breaches of privacy. Now, the claimants alleged in the lawsuit that the unlawful practices included listening devices in their cars and homes, private investigators, listening in on private phone calls, as well as payment to the police. They also said that these people obtained personal medical information from hospitals, care facilities, illicit manipulation of accessing bank accounts, credit histories, and other financial transactions. Now, the Associated Newspapers is denying all these allegations, saying it is preposterous smears against them. Now, we all know that the UK press is the arch nemesis of Harry. He has been blaming them for everything that has happened to him in his entire life. If you read the book Spare, he blames them for everything. They are his get out of jail card. It's like the Swiss Army knife. What can he throw at them? What will stick? What kind of blame can he throw at them? He is now accusing them of robbing him of his childhood, of his teen years, for evading his privacy, for listening in on phone calls, emails, and also for him losing friends. He said he became paranoid because information about him would be leaked to the press, so he cut off friendships with people, assuming it was the people, but apparently it was the press. So now he is blaming them for his teen years and his lack of a great childhood. Again, he always blames the press for everything, kind of like how he blamed the press for calling the royal family racist. It wasn't him and Meghan, it was the British media. It must be nice to have a permanent get out of jail card. Every time you do something wrong, you get caught with your pants down, you get caught for being hypocritical or for being a liar, well, just blame someone else. That's apparently what Harry and Meghan love to do. Now, the interesting thing is, why did Harry show up for this hearing? He didn't have to be there. None of the 7 people who filed this lawsuit had to be there because this is a preliminary hearing that the judge is going to hear from both sides for 4 days, and then he is going to decide if there's enough evidence against the Associated Newspapers to go to trial. Now, the interesting thing is a lot of these claims are really, really old, like 10, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, Harry is probably going to bring out his experience of being in the womb of his mom, talking about a photographer who took a picture of his mother when she was pregnant with Harry. I mean, it's literally preposterous. Now, I don't know if these people actually did what they said. If they did, then obviously they definitely need to be held accountable. But when it comes to Harry accusing the press, I kind of tend to be a little cynical because he literally overuses them as a get out of jail card. Now, besides getting in a couple of punches at the media, you know he's going to throw some rocks at the royal family and throw them under the bus, again playing the professional victim. He says the royal family agreed not to sue the newspapers over phone hacking, that they 100% knew this was going on, but that he was conditioned to accept the family's view that they should not dare take on the UK media. Now, Harry has claimed that members of the royal family struck a secret deal with the newspapers not to sue over the phone hacking because it would, quote, open a can of worms. Harry alleged his own family hid information from him about press intrusion, and he had been conditioned to accept his family's views. Now, in documents filed to the High Court, he said there was a private arrangement between the royal family, which he calls the institution, and Rupert Murdoch's news group, NGN, which publishes The Sun. Now, Harry also claimed there was a place in agreement between the institution and NGN. We would not engage or even discuss the possibility of bringing claims against NGN until the litigation against it relating to phone hacking was over. The institution made it clear that we did not need to do anything about phone hacking, and it was made clear to me that the royal family do not sit in the witness box because that could open up a can of worms. Now, I fully agree with that. The royal family should not be out in the press. I think Harry and Meghan have stepped in it time and time again. Even Prince William has said there have been many times he wants to speak out about lies that are printed about him, but he even knows you can't win. It is a non-winning battle. It is best to never complain, never explain, and to keep carrying on. When you say less, it's better. And in my opinion, if you look at Harry and Meghan, they have not stopped complaining for 3 years. All Harry and Meghan have done are complain and play the professional victim card. And in my opinion, their brand is so negative. The only thing Harry and Meghan are really known for is their feud with the royal family and the lawsuits that they bring upon pretty much every single publication out there that says anything negative. Anyone who points out their lies and hypocrisy aren't safe. Their attack on free speech, their lies, and their victimhood. That is literally all they have done for 3 years of Megxit. Supposedly they're out there to change the world for the better, to help people to become humanitarians, but all Harry and Meghan do is jump on bandwagons that other people have created. Other people have done the hard work. They literally walk over to a pile of poop and they sprinkle fairy dust and glitter on top of it and say, look at us, aren't we special? Aren't we kind? Look what we did. But honestly, you put glitter on top of a pile of poop, it's still poop. You stink. You stank. It's still poop. But Harry and Meghan put little fairy dust and glitter and then claimed that they did it, but they didn't do anything. The only thing these two are known for is being infamous for fighting with the royal family and for crying victim. But now they're acting like they're heroes fighting against the big bad wolf of the British media. We didn't say anything wrong. It was the media's fault. We're just victims. But again, if you look at the royal family who has remained silent while being accused of racism, their numbers are up. Their popularity is up. People are siding with the royal family over Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan have become so negative that nobody wants to be around them in Hollywood. They're becoming toxic. They're becoming like the Amber Heards of the royal family. Now, the institution, according to Harry, was withholding information from him for a long time about the phone hacking, and it became very clear in recent years as he pursued his own claim with different legal advice and representation. Now, in addition to the claims against NGN, the publisher of the Mirror, Harry is now bringing a claim against Associated Newspapers, the publisher of the Daily Mail, on Sunday. Now, he is going to court with them in May over the story they published about him lying about wanting to pay for his own security. I mean, in my opinion, Harry has definitely missed his calling. He probably should have been a lawyer. He's the Sue Happy Sussex. The man loves a lawsuit. Now, he's also saying that the Associated Newspapers are basically responsible for his wife's miscarriage because of all the evil things they did to Meghan. She pretty much lost the baby because of them. Again, everything's about Meghan. Now, Harry, in my opinion, is definitely trying to win people over. He's trying to be the little guy fighting the Goliath, the evil press. And a lot of people are actually cheering for him. They're like, go get him, Harry. You're fighting for your family and your children, and you're keeping them safe. It's like, when is the last time you've actually seen paparazzi chasing Harry and Meghan in California? When is the last time you've seen paparazzi photos of their children? I can tell you, never. The only time you ever see Harry and Meghan papped is when they call Backgrid and they show up where Meghan and Harry tell them to be. The day they were evicted from Frogmore, you saw them at that country club, the very exclusive country club, and Backgrid just happened to be there as they entered through the front of a restaurant, not the back, the front, or the Super Bowl, or that restaurant where they got a clear view. I mean, are people still buying that they're being harassed by the press? If you have to use archival footage of other people being harassed by the press in your docuseries because you don't have any of your own, it means it didn't happen. It means it's not true. But again, Harry and Meghan are trying to play the victim card here, and he's trying to bring justice to the little people. Now, I really believe that this stunt was because Harry's trying to warm people up to him coming for the coronation in 6 weeks. You have to remember, Harry used to be the golden boy. He was Diana's son. He was the beloved royal Prince Harry. And now he's one of the least most popular royals, along with Uncle Andy. If he doesn't want to get booed and have some tomatoes thrown at him and his wife, I think he came here to test the waters to see how people and the press were going to react to him. This whole thing is a PR stunt. It's a showboat move. And I really think he's trying, in his little bird brain, he's trying to win back the public of the UK. I'm the little guy. I'm fighting against the evil, giants, the press, little old me, the victim, me and my wife. Wah. Now listen to what he says. He says in his witness statement, quote, I am bringing this claim because I love my country. When is the last time Harry talked about loving the UK? Not for a long time. And I remain deeply concerned by the unchecked power, influence, and criminality of Associated. The evidence I have seen shows the Associated's journalists are criminals with journalistic powers, which should concern every single one of us. The British public deserve to know the full extent of this cover-up, and I feel it is my duty to expose it, because you're such a sweet, honorable guy, Harry, just always thinking about the people. He said reports in the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday about his private life had caused him immense grief and paranoia as a young man. I think that might have been the drugs you were taking, Harry. Just a thought. Citing an article about a little-known girlfriend from his Eton days called Laura Gerard Lee. It's led to Laura's parents being doorstepped, which they were understandably not pleased about. This sort of thing caused me to try and keep matters as private as I could to avoid this happening. So he's bringing up stuff that happened to him as a teenager. He's literally 38 years old, Harry. Isn't there a statute of limitation here? But again, I just feel like this whole thing is a media circus. It's not looking good for him. It makes him desperate. He's clinging to the spotlight. And I believe he is trying to slowly move himself back into the royal fold, because basically, guys, Hollywood isn't calling Harry and Meghan. Besides Daddy Warbucks, Tyler Perry, I don't see anybody wanting to really work with these two. They're known as hypocrites. More and more people are starting to see that they're just professional victims and they're hypocrites. They go back on everything they say, and then when they get called out, he blames the media. He blames the media, but then in the same token, he calls the media when he wants attention and wants to have positive puff pieces in the press. It's kind of a hug, punch, relationship. It's very weird. It's very toxic. It's very narcissistic, and it has Meghan written all over it. She's definitely set him up on this. She's, taught him to get the money shot, look at the camera. This is a desperate play for attention to tell people, I'm not the spare, I'm a superstar. Look at me, guys. And he's definitely trying to dominate the headlines in the UK, taking it away from the real royals who are doing real work. It's pathetic. It's narcissistic. And I really do believe he's trying to supposedly clean up his image and come out like the good guy here, fighting the bad, evil guys. And I'm just misunderstood. And we're going to expose all of their lies. And then everyone's just going to love me. They're going to love me and my wife again. And we're just going to come back here because we love my country. I don't know if people are believing that. He really hasn't proven. If anything, he's proven everyone in the Megxit community 100% correct. And I still stand by that. He hasn't proven to me anything different. I think he's desperate to stay relevant and he's clinging to his royal roots. And I still believe he's trying to kind of test the waters, because in 6 weeks, him and his wife are going to be trying to come to this coronation. Now, there's a lot of stories about Meghan wanting a tiara, what kind of role they're going to have. I think they're going to have the exact same role that they had at the Jubilee. I don't believe they're going to be a part of the coronation. I mean, King Charles can't trust him as far as he can throw him. He's volatile. They like to pull surprises. And quite frankly, they have hurt and trashed his family for 3 years. I don't believe this family is really in talks. I think it's very superficial. I think all the communication is done through their assistants and their offices. When he notified them, supposedly he was coming, it was probably done through his office. I don't think King Charles is going to give him any FaceTime in the future. I think the days of him getting the presence of the king and his brother are over. They no longer trust him and his wife. So it will be interesting to see if they come to the coronation, if they're going to be sitting in the nosebleeds behind the candlestick. But you guys, what do you think about this story? Do you think that Harry's trying to ingratiate himself back into the public fold with the UK? Do you think he's trying to pretend that he's the good guy fighting Goliath? What do you guys think of the new portrait of King Charles? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.